What is up, my fellow gamers? In today's video, we got our best beginner's guide for the early access launch of Sipher Odyssey. Like and sub for more amazing gaming content. First thing I want to go over is some basic gameplay mechanics, and then we'll dive deeper into some other things like going ahead and crafting weapons and stuff like that. So first thing we got to do is we got to choose which level we want to do for our PvE world exploration. And my first tip is going to be go ahead and make sure you read the requirements for each star, because depending on the level it is going to change, and you don't want to waste your energy having to go ahead and do a level over again. Example, for our second level right here, we have clear the sector, which is easy, but then we have clear it with a specific type of character, and then finally we have that says clear without using any skills. And you want to make sure you 3-star all the levels so you get all of these extra rewards. All right, so right off the bat at the beginning, we can go ahead and we can choose one of our skills. You'll see at the bottom it says that we have 3 points. Now you get 3 points at the end of every round, no more, no less, and those points do not carry over. So if I don't choose anything, then that doesn't mean that like the next level I'm gonna get 6 points. You're still only gonna get 3 points. So it's very important that every time you're able to choose a skill, you go ahead and you choose one. So what I like to typically do is look for the skills that have to do with really like increasing your damage or increasing your speed. Speed is one of the most important things in this game, because what it's going to do is it's going to allow your player to move a lot faster so that it's easier for you to dodge the enemies. And it really comes in handy when you are going up against bosses. Let me tell you, the boss battles in this game, they are pretty tough. The other thing you're going to notice is that there's going to be different types of augments that are going to cost different ones. So we can go up to a maximum of 3. So the skills will either cost 1 point, 2 points, or 3 points. So for your 3 choices, if you have one that say is like a 1, a 2, and then another one, it's best to choose the 2 and the 1. Try and like maximize all 3 of your points. So for this instance, you'll see we have 2 1s and then that 2. If I choose these 2, I'm left with 1 left over, you know, and I can't really use it. So ideally, we want to take advantage of using all 3 points. So I'll pick that 2, and then I'll choose one of these other ones as well. Now, there are going to be some instances where you get dupes. So just be on the lookout for that. If you kind of see that the same augment shows up twice, choosing it twice, if it only stacks 1 time, isn't going to make it stack more. So once we get through this level, I'll talk more about that. So at the bottom right here, underneath your augmented skills, you're going to see that this one in the middle says 1 activated. So certain augmentations can be stacked and their stats will increase. You'll see by this, if we go ahead and we upgrade this tactician, we are then going to get that extra team's evasion for 5 seconds. So some of them stack, and then some of them are a one-time use only, meaning that once you go ahead and you do it 1 time, that's it. It can't be continuously upgraded. So it's not going to show up again and again after the end of a round. Aside from that, the other thing to look out for when you are on these maps are these little danger traps. See this little saw blade that pops up? There's going to be different traps depending on the level you are playing. This one is a damage trap with the saw. Other trap right here, if we walk over this is going to instantly trap our character and then we can't move. The other thing I want to talk about is our skills. So every player is going to have different skills and different types of attacks. For this specific character we're using a assassin. We have our dash attack right here at the bottom, which goes ahead and lets us do like a speed burst forward. Every character has that. Then we have our melee button at the top, which looks like that little fist, but right now it is kind of glowing, which means our ultimate or our special skill is charged up. So if I click on that melee attack, it's actually going to do our special attack. If I get close to an enemy and use it, bam, we did our special attack. Now, in order to go ahead and generate your energy so that you can do your special attack, you basically just have to use your weapon. So every time I'm using my weapon and shooting, you'll see that it charged up again. And now I can do it again. If we do like a regular melee attack, we do not get any energy for our special ultimate skill is what I'm going to call it. You can tap this 3 times to do a combo with your melee attack, which turns into an AoE attack. So if I do it quick, I go 1, 2, 3, you'll see that third strike is an AoE all in front of me. And each different character is gonna have like a different type of melee attack for their special. There's another one who kind of jumps, does an AoE damage around him. The assassin cat goes ahead and it does like an AoE damage in front of her. And then aside from those, every character is also gonna have a regular additional skill, and that's gonna be in between the dash and the melee button. For right now, you'll see it looks like a little character that's kind of dashing forward. That is going to be tied to specifically what type of character you're playing as. If you play as one of the characters that's more tankier, there's one that's like defensive based. He actually goes ahead and he puts a shield on himself so that he absorbs the damage. For the assassin though, you'll see that we do a dash, but our dash does damage as well. So if I go ahead and I dash, I can dash forward towards the enemy and deal damage. Now, the other thing we have to talk about with the augments is, well, how do we know which augments are going to pop up? Now, they're random in a sense, but we do have control over what augments we are going to put in like what I would call our augmentation pool. Character is going to have their own set of augmented skills depending on the type of play style they are. Like I said, we have assassins, we have defenders, which are kind of like our tanks for defense, and then we have one that is more balanced. So if we go to like the vessel library, you can kind of take a look at all of the different ones that we have, whereas this one right here is specifically kind of more of a balanced play style. This Tauros is more of a defensive unit. He's kind of like a tank. He has a lot of augmented pool abilities that have to do with shielding and kind of team supporting. And then finally, Fearless is the assassin, which is kind of more the high damage type of character with kind of low survivability. You got to be careful, but you can move a lot faster than the other characters. You hit really hard. It's going to show me all of the different augmented skills that I have available with this specific character. So each character, like I said, is going to have their own specific ones, but then the weapons and the armor also add extra augmented skills to our overall pool as well. So depending on what weapon you choose, you can then go ahead and perfect your builds and make them very different. So if we go to customize, we go to our weapons, you'll see that every time I change one of these weapons, these three augments, they change depending on which weapon you select. So if I use this specific weapon, then I'm gonna have access to these augment skills. Those are gonna be put in our pool, and then when we are going ahead and doing battle in those stages, one of those has a chance to randomly appear for our selection. And then if I chose one of these other ones, you'll see that I could have something different where I have this is a cryogenic chamber and we have a chance to chill enemies for 8 seconds, and that is using that weapon. But this weapon could be something, you know, completely different where we have icebreaker. Every 20 shots, our team's movement speed is increased for 2 seconds. So you really have to kind of feel out which specific weapons you want to use with which specific characters, which I think is awesome with this game. The builds are pretty much endless, it feels like, because you can kind of mix and match different characters with different weapons and different armors to really come up with some crazy awesome builds. Same thing with our armor. You'll see for this one, we have different pieces. If I have the default one, we have this focused fire, which is going to increase our precision for 3 seconds. But then if I go for the yellow yonder, we have this additional one where now we're going to burn enemies for 5 seconds. When it comes to leveling up our characters will gain XP every time we participate in a level. Even if you fail the level, you still gain experience points for the character that you used. So right now for Fearless, I am a level 8. Now if I click on this, you're going to notice that we do have a level cap. So right now we are a 1 star and our level cap is 40. In order to go ahead and get to 2 stars and increase our overall level cap, we're going to need duplicates of that specific character. So if I click right here, you're going to see that we need 2 1-star Fearlesses at any level. So the next thing is going to be, how do we generate these different types of characters? If we go into the vessel library and we go to the different ones that we have and we click generate, this is going to show us that we need specific materials in order to go ahead and generate each different one. Now, each different character class has different rarities. So for Fearless, you'll see that Fearless has like the green version of her, then we have a blue version, a purple version, and then finally like a yellow version. Different one is going to have different augmentation skills, and they're going to be overall just a lot stronger than the lower rarity. Once you go ahead and you collect 100 of those specific tokens at the bottom, then you can go ahead and generate that specific character. If we head into our armory, this is where we can go ahead and craft different things like weapons and gear. We need to have the blueprint for whatever weapon we want to go ahead and craft. Now, each weapon is going to have different rarities as well as different stars for it. So you're going to see that this one right here, this white one, this is a common shotgun. And then this green one is kind of like an uncommon shotgun. So naturally, if we take a look at the overall stats, you're going to see a difference in the power score range. You're also going to see that the augmented pool is also different based on the rarity as well. So once you go ahead and you find whatever weapon you want to craft, you're going to click use to craft. So we got our blueprint. The next thing you need though is going to be the power cores. Now you're going to see that for this specific SMG blue rare that has 2 stars, we need 15 power cores. So if I click the little plus icon in that top left, we have 10 out of 15. So we do not have enough. We have to go out and we need to collect more by just going through the campaign missions, completing events, so on and so forth. That is it for our best beginner's guide. I hope you guys and girls enjoyed the video. Stay happy, stay safe. I'll see y'all later. Peace.